find the hole. Come on. You got it? Oh, good. Okay. All right, go sit in the car. Smile. Go sit in the car.
Stick out here. Marco, come here.
Yo, I remember that incident.
The lion, being a wild, savage animal, was in these villages and was just running around and creating chaos and havoc with the village people, the townspeople. And what happens is the gods in heaven sent the Buddha down to tame the lion. The Buddha came down and was trying to talk to the lion and calm him down. Being a wild animal, of course, he didn't listen, so they always fought back and forth. And after a few rounds, the Buddha took off his red belt, its red ribbon, and tied it around the horn of the lion. And that's why if you see the lions dancing around all the time, they have a red ribbon in the head. And that's tell it that this lion is tame, it's calm, you can control it. Dancing is a form of expression and form of a blessing that is given to any event or a store or a property. Usually Chinese New Year or at weddings or grand openings, they hire the line dance group to go out, and what they do is they dance around, and it's supposed to scare away the evil spirits, the bad luck for the people or the property, or it could be anything. What people do is they give a red envelope, a hongbao that has money. They feed it to the lion, and an offering of oranges and lettuce is given to the lion. And when the lion eats it and spits it out, it's supposed to represent wealth, coming toward you. During Chinese New Year, there's actually two main parades, traditional parades, when they actually have the lions come out and they go to each store and restaurants that ask for us to bless them. Then they present us with a red envelope, and we go and we do 3 bows, and that represents the blessing of the store, and we could bring good luck and chase away the evil spirits away from their establishment, so they could have a great coming up. A lot of the members, earlier members, are now grown and have their own families, and they introduce their kids into the group too, to learn the art of line dancing, to teach them some tradition.
My name is Kristen Liu, and I was born and raised in Chinatown Community Young Lions. My uncles have started the group, which is my Uncle Brian, Uncle Kevin, my mom, and Brandon. And we started the group, and I was born into it. So my earliest memory about watching the parade, I was in my uncle's store, and I would watch my uncles and all the other members do the head, and I just remembered that how amazing it was watching them and doing the lion dance and stuff like that. So I've always wanted to do it. And when I was little, my grandma and my mom always told me that if my uncles could do it, then I could do it. Everything that I know, it gives me a sense of pride and a sense of tradition, basically, and a sense of culture.
One of the things that we like to instill in young students is the confidence. They don't even know that they're building confidence when they're performing. But when you're out in the street, what we realize is that that helps them later in life because they're gaining lots of self-confidence. We're teaching them a skill, we're going out as a group, we're showing them how to perform, and the byproduct of it is that they're gaining self-confidence when they've done it correctly. And you have to remember that in the 1970s, Chinatown was a very different place. To some, it was a very violent place. There was many gang wars going on. We wanted a safe haven. We wanted a place where a person could feel that they belonged because of their culture, to learn about their culture. So as we have grown, we've had different people of all different races who have been interested in this dance. So we have to be conscious of maintaining what we learned from our parents, from our grandparents, so that we could pass it on to our neighborhood. With many young people, we found that they're all looking to belong to something. So we have to have an alternative in Chinatown that is nonviolent, that is only about culture, and that only teaches about the Chinese culture and lion dance. You give them the alternative, and the camaraderie and the friendships that they build oftentimes go throughout the decades. We're over 45 years old. As you could see from the Chinese New Year parade, we have now generations of Chinatown Community Young Lions members who are bringing their children. To some degree, I was told that immigrant Chinese who have left and have become overseas Chinese, sometimes maintain traditions much stronger than they do in Hong Kong or Taiwan or even China. And we have a lot of superstitions that we follow as Chinese Americans because we were taught by our grandparents and our parents. And I've had, for instance, people from overseas say, oh, we don't even do that in China anymore. So there's a purpose to that. We live in a society that is not Chinese. We are just a small percentage of this entire country. So we do hold the traditions very close to our heart. So that's one of the reasons why we try to pass on as much of these traditions as we can. Even the superstitions, as overseas Chinese, we actually think that they're very important. The rest of the world moves on sometimes and they throw away things because they have the luxury of throwing away certain things that they think are old-fashioned. If you talk to a lot of Chinese American families here, they actually don't want to. They want to teach everything that they can and leave it up to the individual what they want to do. So we teach our kids, make sure you don't knock anything over. Make sure you don't step on something or make sure you don't make a misstep because it is very serious. So that's the connection and why Chinese lion dance has to always remain in Chinatown. It has an importance to the Chinese community here. If this Chinese lion dance was ever stopped and taken away from Chinatown, it would be the first time that a religious ceremony was taken away from the people who founded it as immigrants. This is the psychological thing that we use in Chinatown to get into the next year. And it is a deep belief it still happens today, and so it's a great honor. It's something that we really feel should never leave Chinatown.